Africa Zola Shulwana is tracking the story for us and joins us live for more. Zola, good to speak to you this afternoon. Just walk us through some of those key talking points that Michael Masiapato put you through earlier on today.
Well, Hugo, from what came out of today's briefing, we heard Dr. Masiapato highlighting that, this has been quite a progressive term for the Border Management Authority in comparison to the time it was, established and the previous year, looking at their targets and how much they have achieved. As he rightfully mentioned that about 92% of the targets that they had aimed to achieve, they were able to do so. And also, he also spoke about, the increased volume in terms of travelers. As you'd understand that he reported that last year there were about 7 million people that were recorded in our different ports of entry. In the year 2023-2024 festive season, there were, about 5 million people that were processed during that time. This year, we are seeing an increase. But just to give us highlights of what we spoke about, we are joined by the BMA CEO, Dr. Masiapato. So thank you very much for your time. Listening to your briefing, seemingly, there's a lot of good, that you have actually, spoken about in terms of the targets that you have achieved as the Border Management Authority for this particular season.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think, firstly, we agree that we had been operating under very serious pressure, as an organization, particularly if you were to look at the capacity that we have. But at the same time, there's, a lot of work that is expected from us. So what we then opted to do was to make sure that we keep focused in terms of the work at hand and make sure that we deliver in what needs to be, delivered. And of course, the other things will find us along the way. So that is the fundamental. And of course, in terms of the second quarter report that we've issued, as I've indicated, you will see there that we had almost 7 million that we actually, 9 million that we facilitated just in a period of 3 months. And hence we are actually citing it or linking up to 2 activities. The first one being the 40 meetings that happened in terms of the various G20 tracks that were basically taking place inside the country, but also the ZCC people that came from the continent, going to Moria in Polokwane and all of that. So those were the activities that unfolded. Hence we are able to say, if you compare year on year, the same second quarter of 24-25 versus the current quarter of 25-26, we are talking about 23% increase. And that is a demonstration that things are moving, which means that in this particular festive season, we are definitely going to see a serious, uptick. We are definitely believing we will reach the 6 million, which is the, the pre-COVID number, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, if there are more people that are expected in our different ports of entry, it means that there needs to be more deployment from the Border Management Authority. Would you say that you are, adequately staffed for that pressure?
No, in terms of adequately staffed, we are not. Yeah, we are not adequately staffed. Remember, public knowledge, 25% capacity. So that is not adequate. So that is why we had to do the partnerships that we have spoken about. We had to speak to the government in the Western Cape, the local and the national, the provincial. They gave us around 50 officials that we put on the table. In Gauteng, they gave us around 80. That are going to be at OR Tambo. Those ones that side are actually in Cape Town International. But at the same time, you've seen that we talk about almost 160 what you call tourism monitors that we'll get from the tourism department. They're going to help us in terms of queue management in the environment to make sure that there's no chaos and all of that. So for now, we strive through partnerships. Remember, in terms of law enforcement, we still partner with the police and the defense force on border law enforcement responsibility, which is around the port, but also in the border law enforcement area, what we call the vulnerable segments. So we are not, as an organization, fully capacitated to deliver on this mandate, but we, for now, thrive through partnerships. We do hope as we go forward, when resources get availed, then we will be able to build our capacity as required.
Mm-hmm. Commissioner, before I let you go, you spoke about birth control pills that were found on some of the travelers, skin lightening creams and all of that. What usually happens to that?
Yeah, so basically what we do is we work together with an organization called SAPRA, South African Health Product Regulatory Authority. It is an entity of the Department of Health. Their responsibility is to make sure that all the medication that comes through into the country is supposed to be coming through. It is something that is used in the country, for instance, and all of those kind of activities. So in this instance, they are actually able to assist us, particularly when you have illicit, medicaments that are coming through into the space. Most of the interceptions were not necessarily done with people. Basically, they came to the cargo side, especially at OR Tambo, for example, or even at Durban. But they come on the cargo side, and when we do our inspections, we pick up those illicit goods. So these are goods that are brought in, by the way, in big numbers. We are not intercepting everything. As we speak now, if you go to like Joburg City Center, you will realize there that there are still people who are buying these skin lightening creams, some what you call medical tests or whatever. So all of those things, people are keeping on bringing them in, including ordinary medication and all of that, like disprints and all of that. So we keep intercepting them. We actually engage with SAPRA. They make a determination that yes, it's illicit, and then we destroy. But ultimately, our ultimate objective is to be able to find the actual people that are doing all this so that we can be able to get them through to court. But in many instances, we struggle because what happens is they bring it as an imported thing, and then from there they disappear. And sometimes they use even false names and stuff like that. So it's a big struggle that we have to be dealing with all the time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Michael Masiapato, BMA CEO there. Speaking about, their operations as the Border Management Authority, highlighting challenges that they are still facing, and that is a known issue of being underfunded. But he has assured South Africans that, officials will be at different ports of entry to ensure that work gets done and obviously protect our borders that were once deemed porous at some point. Earlier next year, we will then get statistics as to how many people have entered our country during the festive season, how many interceptions have done, and what are the successes of the Border Management Authority. Hugo, back to you in studio.
Zola Shawana, very quickly before we let you go, Dr. Masiapato talked about the possible number of 6 million, which was pre-COVID. Just give us a sense of how prepared they are to deal with the influx of individuals that will be coming through our various borders, also taking into account that he talked about a number of 23% as the number of visitors and that have been coming into the country in the last 12 months.
Well, of course, he spoke about interventions that are done, and that is, of course, assistance from other law enforcement, agencies, rather, and stakeholders to ensure that they are able to be present at different ports of entry because they will not be able to achieve what they want to achieve as the BMA alone, looking at the number of officials that they have on the ground right now and how the actual number of guards that they're supposed to have at different ports of entry, particularly when it comes to, your borders, land. So we do understand that there is some sort of collaboration that is currently taking place to ensure that they are ready to receive those high volumes of people in our different ports of entry.